So I just came out of watching Marty Supreme, and right after I walked out of the theater, there was a group of people who were talking about the film. So I overheard them saying how terrible of a sports drama Marty Supreme is, and I have to agree. Marty Supreme is a terrible sports drama. But that's not the point of the movie. It's not trying to be a sports drama. Now, the first act of the film very smartly kind of makes it seem like your typical sports drama. There's a guy who's filled with ambition. He can go to any length to get what he wants, that is to be the best ping pong player in the world. And then you get into the first match and you see him play, and that's where things start spiraling into something else. Now, he, after losing a particular match in the film, he just shouting at people. He's like, I lost because the opponent had a better paddle than me. And there you get to know that this guy is a sore loser. He's not really a sportsman in the truest sense of that word. And from then on, you just see him spiraling into chaos. He just takes every wrong decision imaginable. He lies, cheats, and manipulates every single character around him. And that's practically the entire movie. It's literally him taking wrong decisions throughout the film, and there's almost no redeeming quality about this guy. And if you don't like the sound of it, if you don't like the sound of following on a journey with a character who is so irredeemable, then I don't think the film is for you. But if you find that fascinating, if you find grey shaded characters really interesting, like let's say Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems, which is the closest example I can pick to compare Marty Supreme with, because it's also directed by the Safdie brothers, but this one was just directed by one of the brothers, Josh Safdie, and it feels very much in the vein of that film. And another thing that I really loved here is the escalation. Like, the way certain scenes escalate is genuinely mind-blowing. Like, there's one portion in the middle of the film where it all starts with him setting up a simple con, kind of a hustle. He and his buddy are into this and they're doing something, and the way it escalates, it literally sets something on fire. Like, the escalation is pretty incredible, and it has so many scenes like that. In fact, the entire film is that way. Like, it starts out small and then you keep on adding, and so many things happen in this movie. It's a very fast-paced film in the sense that something or the other is constantly happening from scene 1 till the end. There's like 10-20 things happening, and all of them just keep coming back to Marty, and it's all just a bunch of chaos for 2.5 hours. And that really kept me entertained. You might ask the question, what really engages you in a film where the lead character itself is not particularly a likable person? He's pretty selfish, he's arrogant, he's overconfident, he keeps manipulating people. What's there to like? I think it's the fascination of the fact that you still want to see where the character ends up despite taking these decisions. And I think that's what keeps the rhythm and energy of the film going. Constantly you're wondering how much worse can this get, and I think we always have that thing in our mind where we want to see terrible things happen. So I think that really is the whole thing about the film, is that you want to see how much worse can it get, and it keeps you entertained, it keeps you involved in the film. And I was thoroughly engrossed in what was happening. I was totally enjoying it. I was totally into it. I was hating this character. I was hating the decisions he was taking. I was hating how he was talking to other people. And but what do I know? It's just fun. It's in a weird, twisted way fun. Now, coming to the technicalities of the movie, is a brilliantly shot film. Cinematography is outstanding. It perfectly captures the vibe of New York in the time period that this film is set in. The grain in the camera, all of it really adds to the authenticity of the film. The sound design is pretty incredible. Like, it really perfectly syncs up with the frantic energy that the film has. And in fact, I recommend that you watch the film in a theater that has great sound, because that really put me on the edge of my seat, the way it's scored. There's a lot of moments that really make you uneasy and uncomfortable, and it's mostly because of the way it is scored, and I love that. I love when a film score is able to add so much personality to the film. Furthermore, it's again a brilliantly directed film. Josh Safdie did a great job. He keeps things very tight and to the point from beginning to end, and I loved it. I thought he, even though the film is long, it's 2.5 hours long, it never really bored me. I was always interested in something or the other and was constantly engaging. Coming to the performances, all of the performances are stunning, but of course this is a film that belongs to Timothée Chalamet. He is stunning in this film, just perfectly encapsulates his character and you just hate him, and that is exactly the kind of response the actor has to elicit from the audience, especially in a character like this, and that's just perfect. Like, he does a great job. Scene 1 to the end, you're just locked into his character and he never skips a beat. He is sensational in this one. Absolutely one of the best performances of 2025, and I would not even be surprised if he wins the Oscar. He is truly sensational. I also need to talk about the ping pong sequences, though that's not the point of the film. The ping pong sequences were incredibly well filmed. There's a lot of tension in these sequences that puts you on the edge of the seat. You really want to see where the game goes, and it's shot in some great angles. The camera work is genuinely amazing in these sequences, and some shots are truly interesting and unique. So I was really engaged by the entire game whenever it happened in the film. I think this is all I need to say about the movie. I think this is such a fun movie. It was very entertaining from start to finish, but also quite unnerving and uneasy, but that's in a good way. Like, that's the kind of movie I was looking forward to in a way. So if that's your kind of a film, if you really want to see things keep escalating to a point of no return, then you need to watch Marty Supreme. I do want to talk about the ending a little bit, and that would go into the spoiler territory. So here's your spoiler warning. Yep. Okay, let's get into it. I was a little conflicted with the ending, let me just say that, and I'm still kind of processing it in a way. So the ending is basically Marty going to Japan, and he plays a final match against the Japanese champion, and he fails. Because he is supposed to fail. Like, that's the deal that he makes with this character played by Kevin O'Leary, and he's supposed to fail, and that's like all a part of a promotional stunt. But anyways, he then gets very humiliated because now he is supposed to kiss a pig, and that's like super humiliating. And so he's like, no, I don't want to go ahead with that. I want to play a real match. And he just announces, like, this is all a setup. I want to play an actual match with the Japanese ping pong player. And then he goes on to play a real match, and then both of them end up, and Marty actually wins. And then it's like this triumphant moment with this triumphant score, and then he somehow returns back to his home, and then he meets his newborn baby, and then he starts crying. Now, there's two ways to look at it. In one way, you can argue that Marty did not deserve this kind of ending where he has a kid and is like really crying his eyes out because he, just is in love with this kid that he has, and he's such an irredeemable character. You cannot give him this happy ending. But there's also another way to look at this. Like, throughout the entire film, Marty's never cared for anyone in the truest sense. He's never really given back in a relationship that he had with any person. He's always thought of himself. He's always thought of the sport. He's always thought of his goal and nothing else. He was a selfish, manipulative, and that ending really in a way works because you see him for the first time genuinely caring and tearing up because of a human being that is his kid. He seems to have this personal connection of something that he's created, and he's suddenly tearing up, and so there's two ways to look at it. I do agree to an extent that he's not really a redeemable character, and an ending like this kind of makes all the stuff that he's done to be a little okay, but that's also not always the case. I also like the fact that in the end he finally found, or in some way the entire set of events transformed him into kind of being a better person, or at least that's what we hope for. We never know what happens after the film cuts, and it's all up to our imagination. For all we know, the wife might leave him and he might be back to square one again, and honestly nothing has changed. He cannot play in the ping pong tournament again because of his his arrogance, and he still does not have money, which he's been chasing throughout the movie. So he's actually back to square one, and he's not really achieved anything except for a personal connection. So I think in that way, it's kind of a beautiful little moment. So yeah, the more I'm processing it, the more I'm liking it. But yeah, I can see how some people may not like the ending, but I think it works well enough for the film. But anyways, that's the review. I really enjoyed Marty Supreme. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and more importantly, tell me what is your take on the ending. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it conflicting? And also, who is your favorite anti-hero kind of a character, or a gray shaded character? Like, who's that character you know that you hate but you would love to keep watching? So let me know that in the comments. Thank you so much for watching Flash Flick Reviews, a safe space for cinema nerds. Subscribe for more such content, and I will see you again.